Okay, thank you for joining, everyone. Let's go ahead and start with student introductions. If I'm not mistaken, Juan has a cup that Juan Sandoval. You have a cup that nobody else has. You were the first person to turn in all of your paperwork, your applications and waivers for the full program, and so I wanted to appreciate you for that, or congratulate you for that. But also, it comes with a little bit of responsibility. As a result, please just give us your name, your grade, your high school, and just your plans for post high school plans.
My name is Juan Sandoval. I go to Grant Union High School. Um, Post high school is to go to college and study to be a dentist.
Terrific. All right. Thank you, Juan. Go ahead and pick any name you see, and they'll go ahead and answer the same next.
Edith. I pick Edith.
Okay, my name is Edith, and I go to HCA, which is the Health Careers Academy in San Joaquin County. And my postgraduate plans is actually enlisting in the Navy, which I already did, and I'll be shipping out a week after I graduate.
Wow. Very nice, Edith. All right, go ahead and pick someone.
Jada's next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Jada. I go to Historic Durham Ferry and I'm a junior, and I don't have any plans post after high school.
Fair. Who's next?
Amelia is next on my list.
Hey, hi, I'm Amelia. I go to Historic Durham Ferry. I'm a junior, and my postgraduate plans are to go to a JC and then hopefully transfer to Texas A&M.
Thank you, Amelia. Who's next?
Jenna's on my thing.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I go to Historic Durham Ferry, and sorry, my post plan is to go to college. I don't know where or what.
Fair. Thank you so much, Jenna.
Emily.
Hi, my name's Emily. I'm a 12th grader at Historic Durham Ferry, and right now my post-high school plans are to go to MJC for a couple of years and then eventually end up at UC Davis to hopefully become a veterinarian.
Excellent. Yeah, that's actually going to be our next field day in February. That'll be the 12th. So you'll be receiving a kit and invites for that very shortly. Thank you. Who's next?
Let's go with Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm in 12th grade and I attend Health Careers Academy, and my postgraduate plans are to go into the nursing field in California.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Michelle. Who's next?
Hannah?
I am a senior at Langston Hughes Academy, and my post-secondary plan is to go to William Jessup for a math major and then become a teacher.
Excellent. Thank you so much. William Jessup's actually my alma mater, my university alma mater. It was a blast going there. I think you would have a lot of fun there, and I don't know, I hope you get in and enjoy it. Who's next?
Samantha.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm a senior at Langston Hughes Academy, and my plan after high school is to go to Sacramento State and then get my master's master's in education.
That's terrific. My wife is actually a Hornet. I don't know. I was going to go to Sac State, but I was like, you know what, let me try something a little bit different. But they've got like everything they do have at Sac State is terrific. So highly recommend. Who's next?
The next one on my screen that hasn't gone is, sorry, I don't know who hasn't gone. Josie, I don't think Josie has gone.
Hi, I'm Josie. I'm a senior at Durham Ferry. And as far as my post-high school plans, I want to go to MJC and study animal science and then hopefully transfer to Fresno State.
Awesome. Oh, straight road plan there. It's terrific. Thank you so much. Who's next?
Jackie.
Hi, my name is Jackie. I go to Alisa High here in Salinas, and I'm a junior. My plans for after high school are to attend a four-year college, and I'm still not sure what I want to study.
Excellent. Good, good, good. You know, that's what this whole program is all about, you know, just showing you just a little bit of a view of what's out there career-wise. Just, you know, in this industry, there's so much going on. But, you know, unless you have that sort of insight, unless you have those connections, how would you know? So I don't know. I hope that, you know, this is beneficial for you and, you know, helping you either figure out what you do want to do or at the very least what you don't want to do. So thank you so much for that. Who's next?
JD.
Hi, my name is JD Solis. I'm a junior at Alisa High in Salinas, and my future plans are to attend a four-year. I'm not sure which one, and I'm not sure what I want to study yet.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Who's next?
And next will be Tomas.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name's Tomas, and I'm a junior at Elsa High. And my future plans are to go to college. I don't know where or what I want to study, but those are my plans.
Terrific. Terrific. Thank you so much, Tomas. Who's next?
Diego.
Hi guys, my name is Diego Martinez, and I'm a junior at Aliso High School, and plans for after graduating is to go to a good university and possibly study medicine.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Diego. Who's next?
I'm not sure who's left.
All right. Letty, any names that...
Jennifer, did you go?
I don't think Owen went either.
Let's hear from Mr. Rockman.
Hi, my name is Owen. I'm at Historic Durham Ferry. I'm a sophomore. Plans after high school, going to university, but not exactly sure where or for what just yet.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Owen. All right, who else? I think we've had Michelle go, Owen, Samantha, Tomas. I think we had Solis already. Josie. Okay, well, if everyone has gone, let's go ahead and get started. So as previously mentioned, I'm Joseph Montoya, the Farms Leadership Coordinator for the Sacramento Valley and San Joaquin region. And today is our first crossover event where we're joined by Leticia Hernandez of the Santa Cruz and Monterey region. And she's brought us students from her region, which include which high schools is it again, Letty?
Yeah, we have students coming from SoCal High School, Gonzales High School, Greenfield High, and Alisal High School.
Okay. Thank you so much, Letty. And it seems, I'm looking in the participants, that our hosts have joined. So I want to welcome Margaret Smither-Capurl and Valerie Bullard. They are our representatives and tour guides for our virtual field day for the NRCS Plant Material Center of Lockeford, California. Lockeford is a small place, beautiful place in between Sacramento and Stockton, which is really, really cool. It's Northern California. And, you know, it's pretty much halfway in between, which is why, you know, it just made the most sense to bring both of these, my regions, into this. Also, Letty has already had so many field days with NRCS facilities, and so like her students are already so informed, but I'm so glad that she's joined today. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Margaret. Please go ahead and take it away.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm the manager of the Lockeford Plant Material Center, which is owned by, it's like a farm that is owned by the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Plant material centers were established to work on different plants for conservation, and that's what we do. We're a 106-acre farm, and we try and provide information to other NRCS staff and also the public. So for those of you who've been to NRCS offices and so on, we know those people. They call us if they have questions, and our information that we produce is provided for them.
And Valerie, if I could have you introduce yourself.
Sure. Hold on. There we go. Hi, guys. I'm Valerie Bullard. I'm the agronomist at the Lockeford PMC. I've been there for 5 years now, which is kind of crazy. Time flies. So my job at the PMC is to manage the trials and collect data. So I get to be outside a lot and get dirty, which is pretty fun, and basically evaluate trials and plants that we're growing at the PMC, and trials that we may have going on with growers in anywhere in California, and see if they're a good fit for the conservation practices that we're trying to implement with them. So see if the plants will work with their operations, and if there's some really good benefits for California agriculture.
Terrific. Thank you so much. So next, I want for all of my students to go ahead and pull out this map of California, which is really, really cool. The Plant Material Center provided us with this, and it shows just all the different regions and the diversity of habitats that California offers. And, you know, as you can see, we're pretty much in that little, in 16, I believe, the California Delta, unless I'm mistaken. Please correct me if I am. Please correct me if I am mistaken. And, you know, what I'm doing here is, you know, we're taking this great view and then going to minimize it a little bit, going down to your next map, which is the riparian areas map. And this is, you know, basically like a Google Earth of the Plant Material Center in Lockeford. And that next page just is a little map of everything that we have, or the trial facilities, the I don't know, the Valerie, if you could help me, or Margaret, this the trial staging area, is that, how would you?
Yes, that final one, yeah, the one before, maybe you can all look at it. You can see, and I wish I had it. Joseph, could you hold up your map of the one before?
This one?
No, not that one, the one you showed prior to that. I just want to show them. Okay, so on that one, if you're looking at yours, you can see the river going down, and I think that's probably an irrigation map. You can see all our fields. in there. And then if you go to the next one of the things we do is studies. We'll do trials. We'll plant plants in blocks so we can see what's different between one treatment and the other one. It's like a scientific method for figuring out what is really going on, how to get to the truth, as it were. And that's what that map is showing. It's a schematic. And when I'm out talking to you about fava beans, that's probably the map, I think.
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much for the orientation. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and show our video, and once that's finished, we can go ahead and begin our Q&A session. So, 1 second, please. There we are.
Hello, I'm Margaret Smither-Caprell. I'm manager of the Lockeford Plant Materials Center. We're a farm about an hour south of Sacramento, and we're 106 acres in size. We're also part of the Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is part of the United States Department of Agriculture. We are the only plant materials center in California. We'll show you native plants we have growing in hedgerows, which is one of our NRCS practices. And we'll share the benefits those have for wildlife and pollinators. We'll look at some milkweeds, which are really important for monarch butterflies. And then we'll also show you some cover crop plantings that we do, because cover crops can be grown all through the valley in our orchard crops, and they provide lots and lots of benefits. I've been manager at the Lockeford Plant Materials Center for 10 years now, and for each of those years, we have welcomed farmers group of students to the PMC in person. Students usually come from several schools, and they're just delightful. We have different activities around the PMC, depending upon what's going on and who the person running it, what they're interested in. And we like to show them some of our diverse activities. So this event is the essence of what the PMC is like and how wonderful it is to work there. Thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy yourselves.
Okay, my name is Valerie Bullard, and I'm the agronomist here at the Plant Materials Center in Lockeford, California. I went to UC Davis and got my master's. My background is soil science.
Whoa. Is everyone else's screen black too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that one again. So we'll kill this. Bye. Oh, the wheel.
And an agronomist is someone, they look at the interaction between soils, climate, diseases, pests, nutrients, all on crops. And so how do you optimize the growth and health of crops for food and fiber? So the work we do here is really important because it comes back to kind of the soil health. Work and trials we look at are for conservation practices and specifically cover crops. My main job here is to manage the trials on the PMC and as farmers in the field. So I work with farmers and field staff and collaborators from other agencies and organizations, and we evaluate cover crops and plant species and how they improve soil health. What is this? The no-till corn planter. We're going to be using it for planting fava beans today, which is a cover crop, into a trial that we have going on at the PMC.
Hi, everybody. My name is Matthew Bronson, and I'm the farm manager here at the Plant Materials Center, which is part of the USDA. Do everything from putting seeds in the ground to repairing equipment, reading manuals, to writing reports. Now, I know all of you are high school students and you're thinking about certificated program or going to a four-year university or going in the military. So I'll give you a little bit of my journey I am actually from Southern California. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I do come from many generations of farmers. But to me, it was always just a story that they told around the dinner tables. I never really made that connection because I lived in a big city. So I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo right after high school. I actually did an internship in investment banking. I did an internship at a winery. I got to my end of my 4 years and I still didn't know what I wanted to do, and went down the corporate route, but decided it wasn't for me. I went back to graduate school and got my MBA. And right at the very end of that, I started teaching and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to become a teacher. And I was lucky enough that I could actually teach and go to school at the same time. I became an agriculture teacher. I taught everything from welding to animal husbandry to greenhouse management. Heard about this place called Center for Land-Based Learning when I was a teacher, and they just happened to have an opening. While I was at Center for Land-Based Learning, I learned about the Natural Resource Conservation Service. I realized there's all these opportunities in the federal government I had no idea about. Internships you get paid for. There's just a wide range of types of opportunities. And I actually decided, you know what, I want to do something where I actually get back to working on the land and working with farmers and scientists. I got the job here and I really enjoy it because every day is different. I get to work outside. I work with such a diverse group of people, and so that's been huge because as you get more into career, you know, in the beginning it's like, oh, how much are they going to pay me every month? But as you move on and you start realizing that work is a balance between going to work and getting paid and what are you getting out of the job every day when you come home? So it created a balance in my work life. And so now I'm here today and I've been here about 3 years. And if I can leave you with one thing, you know, do an internship, even if it doesn't work out, take that information and move forward because it might have saved you years of struggle trying to go down a path that maybe wasn't right for you. So every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Just remember that. And it's now time to fire up the tractor. We're going to be going out into the field and doing some planting today. I'm excited. These are always fun days because there's been a lot of planning involved, a lot of communications with different folks, and a lot of troubleshooting to get everything ready. So come on. Margaret, what are they checking for? What's going on?
They're checking for the seed spacing. Our ideal seed spacing is around 3 inches between each seed in the rows, and it looks like it's kind of closer. So Matthew thinks he may be able to change the vacuum setting and they'll be a little further apart. Because if you have plants too close together, they compete with each other. They do better at the correct spacing. Yeah. Okay, we are in field 4 of the Plant Materials Center, and I'm right in front of the second year of a study with bell beans, fava beans. And what we're looking at here is how much nitrogen is fixed by this plant, because if you plant this plant, it'll take nitrogen from the atmosphere, the bacteria in the roots will fix it, add it to the soil, use it for growth. And then after we terminate the crop, the nitrogen remains. So if farmers use this as a crop, they won't need to fertilize quite so much. This study is continued from last year. We actually have a really excellent collaboration with California State University Chico. They got a grant from the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Group to fund this. And what's happening is, if you look down here, this row, you'll see Windsor bell beans. They're Windsor fava beans. The seeds, which you can't see now, are quite big. They're usually about an inch. and these plants were planted, I don't know, probably a little over a month ago. We'll harvest at different times, starting in February, March, April, and then we will see how much nitrogen is accumulated. And this is important because producers want to know how much nitrogen they're going to get from their cover crops. They're also looking at water. If they leave them really late, they're worried the cover crop will use water. But is it worth it because the nitrogen fixture? It's always tricky to figure out with cover crops. Then at the same time, we planted Triticale. This, as you can see, looks like a grass. It's a cereal. It's a hybrid between wheat and rye. It grows really well. We'll be sampling this as well. And that'll give us an idea of how much nitrogen is here. So you'll be able to subtract the nitrogen here from the nitrogen in the fava beans, and we'll know how much they fixed. And then finally, this is a different cultivar. This is bell beans. This is what is usually used in cover crops because they're fairly small. And in fact, you students will have some seeds included in a seed sample of bell beans.
Which farm owners or what crops do you think are most beneficial for these bell beans versus those others versus this one?
Well, these bell beans are part of a cover crop. The other ones, the Windsors, even though they're the same species, the seeds are so big you can't really plant them through a regular planter. You would be growing those for seeds to just eat, actually. They're eating beans. And people in the US don't eat them very much, but it is a staple around the world. Really good. These ones are used in cover crops, so they would be used probably not in almond orchards because they get kind of large. Walnut producers use these in their crops. If you go to areas where they grow row crops and things, this is a component of a high biomass cover mix, and it's very commonly used in cover crop mixes. For example, if you go toward the coast where you grow strawberries, Watsonville area, if you see cover crops there in March, you almost always have bell beans. This study here, we're collaborating with the Agricultural Research Service, and they're looking at different cultivars of crimson clover. And here, Triticale, a cereal is marking either side, and then the plant that we're interested in the middle is this, crimson clover. It has 3 leaves. And if we walk down the row, you'll see some cultivars are doing much better than others. This study is being conducted not just here, but in locations all over the US. So you can see here, see this row, crimson clover, there's way more of it. So this particular cultivar is doing a little better in California than that first one that we saw. But we're expecting to see different sizes, which we do see. You see that? These guys are really small here. These are very little. So we'll take data from all of these. We'll take germination data, and we'll take biomass data. And as you can see, it's getting very weedy, so we'll have to come out and weed the plots. See how well this one is doing. This one is well adapted to California. And that's what we're testing out here. By the time the study is over, we'll have data from all of the cultivars here. There are 4 plots of each kind. And we will take germination data. Probably late March, April, we'll take biomass data, and so we'll know the weight of it, and we'll do nitrogen analysis as well. So that's the crimson clover study.
Perfect. Let's see, we have a question in the chat. Thank you, Letty.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sean Vu. I'm the environmental technician here. We are in the seed building, managing the seed inventory. It's one of my duties. We'll grow and harvest some seed ourselves, and most of them are native plants that have conservation purposes. Here we'll show you some machines and how we process the seeds and how we clean it after we harvest it from the field.
Sure.
let's get a little bit of your background. Oh, well, so back to like high school. Let's start at the beginning. High school. Well, high school, I was in Sacramento. Wanted to do something different. Went to Los Rios communities in Sacramento. Took some online courses and agronomy and plant stuff, and that's where I met Margaret and here. So we have some of these machines. This is called a hammer mill. So basically, when you harvest this, let's see. We'll come in here and we'll break it down after we dry it up. And these hammers will spin, and they'll just break into smaller, more processable pieces. The screen has different size according to the seeds that we want to break out of the pods or break from the other vegetations that we don't want. So we use this. We'll slide it in here like so, and then we'll close it up and turn on, and this stuff will just break everything down to smaller, more possible size. So after this is done, we'll take it to a cleaning machine here. Basically, it has all kinds of screen size, and play around with it until you get the cleanliness you want. It's in there. And I'll just run it through several steps, and it'll come out clean on the bottom. So let's go over here and look around. This is for like temporary storage. We don't store this for long because it can get moisture in here. So we store it in here and usually get rid of them in a couple of years. And if we want to store it for a longer period of time, we'll go to the cooler. So this is the cooler, and its humidity and temperature is always below 50 degrees. So it keeps the seed cool and dry, and it can last for years in here. So we got the dehumidifying fans up here. They'll suck up all the moisture. So it keeps everything dry in here. So we'll label it according to like the section number, the date, year, and we'll keep a record of this in our system. So this whole place is full of seed that can last for years and years. So we'll give you guys some seeds. We got peas, oat, and some veg. So I'm glad to give these to you guys. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy.
So what I'm going to talk about now is some milkweed plants. You will have all heard about monarch butterflies. They're really beautiful. They overwinter in the coast and then they fly inland in the summer. On their way, they lay eggs on milkweed plants. That's the only plants that we use to make
The sound is kind of going out, Joseph. I don't know if everybody else sees it. Okay.
A lot of seeds. You will each have one of these, I think, in your kits. And you can see there's a seed pod, and then inside there's a lot of fluff, which blows away in the wind, carrying the seeds with it. So the seeds are wind dispersed. This fluff can be used to fill like for down, for pillows and things. The Native Americans would use it for round babies and so on. And see how this is all, they're blowing in the wind. Isn't that lovely? And so now some lucky neighboring farmer will have hopefully milkweeds growing in their fields. And here are a few seeds and a milkweed beetle who is probably eating these seeds. Got native plants and it's all good. So I'm standing in front of a strawberry tree. Latin name is Arbutus Nato, and it's an ornamental tree planted in California. Originally, it comes from Europe. You can see here, it's in bloom right now. These urn-shaped flowers are hanging down, and behind it, you can see the red thing is a strawberry tree fruit. And this is the result of some of the flowers from last year. So they bloom at this time of year, which is December. The fruits are growing all through the year, and then the next December they fruit and flower at the same time. It's not native to California. People do plant it as a landscape plant, and bees
love it. Obviously, it's a good pollinator plant. In Western Europe, it has a distribution along by the ocean from Ireland down through France, Spain, and even North Africa.
Are these edible or are they poisonous?
Oh, they're edible.
Edible.
Personally, I really like them.
What are they? Do they have any vitamins in them?
Yes, I think it's really healthy. They taste, people say they taste a little bland and not that delicious, but I absolutely like them. You can make jams and jellies. I've made pies out of them. It's kind of a mealy texture, but it's sort of sweet as well. And it's very nutritious. This family is the same family that the blueberries are in as well. Okay, here we go. Very good.
Thank you for coming to the Plant Materials Center. I hope you've enjoyed this virtual event. You've learned some things that will be useful to you. I hope another time you'll be able to visit the PMC. Normally we are open to the public. We also have a program for volunteers. They can come and help. There are also, NRCS is a place where we employ people, especially people who understand about agriculture and farming and care about the environment, as we all do here. So thank you once again, and I hope you enjoyed this event.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I see we have some comments in the chat, I think. Am I not able to see them? Okay. A little choppy. Sorry about that. It's like, let's turn down. Huh. Cool. Hannah has a tree like that. Okay. So Hannah, for sure, if that is what that is, those I don't know if you call them fruits, they're edible. For the San Joaquin region students, I think all of you should have a little baggie with like 1 or 2 of those each. Those are all edible. You can totally eat that. I don't know, it's like a gritty sort of texture, but like, I don't know, I think they're pretty good. And I highly recommend you try them. I don't know, as soon as possible, because like I don't know how much longer they're gonna last, but like I don't know, it's an experience, and I don't know, pretty good. Are there any questions for our host today, for either Margaret or Valerie? Let's see. Okay. Let me go ahead and make this big. Okay. So you know what I actually do? So Margaret, you are the, I don't know if you said it was the director, but ask the same question.
Well, my official title is manager. Sometimes people say she's the director. We don't have a director. So.
Well, what brought you into this kind of work? Where is this, where did this appreciation or like wanting, or, is it a lifestyle choice or just like a little bit of all?
Well, I grew up in England. Some of you may have realized from my accent that it's a little weird for an American. So I grew up in England and my parents were growers. And so I grew up with a farm, and it was more like you guys are familiar with over in the Salinas area. We grew tomatoes actually in greenhouses because it's colder in England. Strawberries, and we grew strawberries. Actually, we had a movable greenhouse. We grew strawberries in that. At that time, the cultivars we had didn't fruit all the year, so you only had like a month where they were fruiting. So you would kind of try and grow it so you get production all year round. So strawberries, lettuce, in the greenhouses in the winter, we would grow lettuce in the winter, tomatoes, and field crops as well, like corn, peas, beets. So I grew up with that, and it was a small operation, just a few acres. We had a farm shop, so I grew up selling stuff out of the back door. And also, but it was large enough that we also had to sell to local stores and even into London. We were about 30 miles from London in England, and they have big markets in London, so we would sell into there as well. So I learned all about that, and I love plants, and I decided when I was little that I wanted to be a botanist, which is kind of weird. Do you all know what a botanist is? Yes, good. So
just explain it, just in case.
Oh, a botanist is a person who studies plants. That's basically what it is. And in my life, I've taught botany classes. And if you actually look at plants, which a lot of people do not do, and want to learn more about them, then that makes you a botanist in my book, because you're always learning if you're a botanist. There's just so many plants and so much to learn. So I decided I want to go to college and study botany, which I did. And then I didn't really want to go into farming at that time because it's hard, you know. You have to work so hard all the time. You get a bumper crop and then the prices are in the toilet, and then you have a terrible crop and the prices are really high. So it's a very stressful occupation. But then when I was older, I realized that, yeah, agriculture is what I'm interested in, really. I have to keep doing it. But I had a sort of a weird, I got married actually after I left college in England. My husband is American. I ended up in Michigan. And so then it's kind of like, what am I going to do? And the US college system did not really like English degrees very much, but I decided I was going to go back to college if I could and go to graduate school. And I actually applied. I was very young and kind of ignorant, and I thought, well, you know, I'll just apply to college. And I applied to Michigan State. I decided I would do a PhD in plant pathology. And I had to do, there was a big exam, the graduate record exam. I had to take that. They sent me a little booklet and it was multiple choice. And I went and took the course and I did really well. Because in England, you have to read all the time. You read a lot of books. And I think all of that helped me do well. And also I had a botany degree and I was studying biology and I did really well with that too. So they let me into Michigan State, did a PhD. Since then, I ended up doing, I seem to be unlucky with timing, but when I started working for a USDA, I had worked previously for a startup company. They went bankrupt, and I was looking for work, and I saw a job for USDA. They wanted a botanist, and my degree was botany, and I thought, well, I'll apply. When I was little, I wanted to be a botanist. And so then I was hired by the Animal Plant Health Inspection Service in Washington State, and I was a botanist. That was my title. And it was kind of hard because mostly it was identifying seeds. If you've ever been out of the country, you come back in, the people in customs, they look through your bags for plants and seeds. My job was to identify what they found. And most of it was seeds, and that was hard for me because I couldn't tell the difference at that time between wheat and barley. But I learned and came to do my job quite well, but I didn't like it because it was in Washington State and it's very gloomy and dark, and I had to work in a little cubicle. And then I saw this job and applied, and they gave me the job. And so it's just awesome. I'm manager of like a farm. I have to work with all kinds of people. I'm just really lucky. So I think that's my message. Whatever job you have to do, just make the best of it because you'll always learn something useful.
That is so fun. I actually have a question. What was your, what's like the wildest seed that you found that, like, I don't know, that are like no-nos as far as customs goes coming onto American soil?
The wildest seeds. That's a good question. Well, there's actually a list of federal noxious weeds that are not allowed into the country. If something isn't in the country and everybody knows it's a weed around the place, then you can exclude the cargo. It's kind of a stressful job, actually. So one of the things I did when I was there, a lot of these were wind dispersed seeds. You've all seen pampas grass. There's a lot of it growing, you guys, in the Santa Cruz area. That big grass with wispy spikes on the top that grows everywhere. You familiar with that?
Probably a bit.
Okay, if you drive down to Monterey, it's all up the coast, and it's an invasive weed. And a lot of those seeds, they blow in the wind. So that actually is not a federal noxious weed, even though it's a terrible weed, because it's everywhere. We can't control that anymore. We're trying to keep out things coming into the country. So why am I telling you all this? I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, one time I found a federal noxious weed in some pottery. And it was coming in from Thailand, I think. They make, people who make pots, they kind of leave them outside, you know, and seeds blow in. And I found these seeds, and it was like, you have to, okay, we're not going to let this into the country. And so then the owner was so furious. He rang me up, called me on the phone, told me he's going to report me to his congressman, which he actually did. And I was picking on him, but I was right, because those were really dangerous seeds, and we don't want that particular plant in the country. I think it was a pennisetum. It's a grass, kind of grass that is, you know, can cause all kinds of problems.
So it was imported some sort of pots, and they were just like in there. Was it?
They were just in there. Yeah.
Intentional, but we had to like stop it because, you know.
You had to stop it. Yeah, he would have had to unload the whole cargo. I think wash everything out, make sure it was safeguarded so that no seeds would escape. And of course, that would be really expensive, you know, so you can understand why he wouldn't want to do that. But the alternative is that, you know, they're in Lowe's and everybody's buying them, and next thing you know, they're popping up everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Very important to protect our natural environment.
Yes.
Let's see.
There was a question about maybe sharing a little bit more about the milkweed plants, because during that time of the video, we couldn't really hear.
Yes. Okay. So the milkweeds, you could not hear that. And the picture of me, there were some nice pictures of the plants when they're in bloom, but which maybe, I think you have plant guides of milkweeds in your boxes. Yes. So you all know why milkweed plants are so important? Yes?
Did we catch that?
Can anybody answer why milkweeds are so important?
I know my students might know. They did receive their plant guides.
Have you read it? And does anybody know?
In the chat, or just let it out.
Okay. Well, I'll carry on anyway. So monarch butterflies are an threatened species. Those are beautiful butterflies that overwinter along the coast, and then they fly back into the Central Valley, stop and lay eggs and hatch their young, keep on flying. The next generation flies and flies and flies. And the numbers have really collapsed in recent years. I think most recently I heard there's like 2% of the population that there used to be. We're really frightened they're going to become extinct. They're already threatened. I don't think they've been put on the endangered species list. But one of the things, the only plant that they lay their eggs on are milkweeds. And milkweeds are kind of a really interesting plants. They're native to the US, have these beautiful complicated flowers, and the milkweed, the butterflies lay their eggs on the leaves, and then the larvae eat them, and there are poisonous chemicals inside the leaves of the milkweed, which the caterpillars obviously it makes them poisonous to birds, so there's not so much predation of the caterpillars on the milkweeds. But because of agriculture, the number of milkweed stands have really, really decreased. And so there's no places so much for the milkweeds to lay their eggs anymore. And it's not just agriculture, it's in rangelands as well, because the plants are toxic. Cattle don't usually eat them, but if there's not much forage, they may. But regardless, the farmers, the owners of the land who run cattle don't like having milkweeds because they know they're toxic, they don't want them. So there's been a huge reduction in milkweed stands, and that has, we think, one of the major reasons why there's less butterflies around. So we're working closely with the Xerces Society to try and figure out how to grow milkweeds. And we found in earlier studies, we planted milkweed as part of a pollinator mix, and hardly any of them grew. And the Xerces had found the same thing. Sometimes they grow and a lot of times they don't. And so we've done these studies at the Plant Materials Center, planting them in different ways to see how well they did. And that's what I was showing you. It was the end of the season, it's December. So those are the plants that look beautiful in July, but come December, they look absolutely awful. They're perennial plants, which means they survive for more than 1 year. They can actually live for a very long time, we believe. But they're what we call them herbaceous perennials. So they die back every winter and then they don't grow again. You'll see that you won't see anything, and you go out and you look at them and you think, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? And then you come out in April or May and there they are, big plants. So they're very interesting. And like I said, the flowers are just gorgeous. So that's, those of you near the coast, I know that, there are overwintering sites near Monterey, I believe. Pacific Grove used to have some. I think Santa Cruz too.
Pacific Grove is the main spot.
Yes, and that's something that I wanted to jump into. Letty actually included some seeds in her kit that you can help these monarch butterflies with their habitat, perhaps rejuvenate that. For my region, Sacramento and Sacramento Valley and San Joaquin, all of you should have received a little baggie like this. I know it looks kind of interesting and weird, but I assure you it's not like poisonous or dangerous. Go ahead and open it up. This cotton feeling thing is like super soft, and this is how you can actually help to regrow some of those monarch butterfly habitat. So literally in your backyard or with a plant or wherever in an open field, let those go, and then hopefully they take root, and then you can help to rejuvenate the monarch butterfly population.
Yeah, and you could even plant them in pots if you wanted.
Yeah.
So if you were going to plant them, I would plant them 1/2 inch deep and make sure that you keep them moist. Don't worry about if, like I said, you don't see them for a very long time. If they're outside, don't worry if you don't see them for a long time. And when they start coming up, they're tiny and you need to weed around them. You need to be kind of careful. On our website, I think we have a book with pictures of seedlings, and you could look in there and be able to tell the seeds from the actual plants that you want from the weeds, because it can be hard to weed around and tell which is which sometimes.
Thank you so much. Looks like we have a question from one of our teachers. Joanna, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, the question about, do you have any tips for growing milkweed stands? Okay, so on our website, we have 3 study reports written by Valerie on our research on how to grow milkweeds. I think the short answer is I would plant them this time of year. I think it would be fine in pots, and then you would be sure you wouldn't have any weeds growing, because when they are first germinating, it's hard to separate the milkweeds from other weeds, but if you planted them in pots and you have small plants growing, and then you can plant them out. The first year you're going to need watering to keep them watered really well. But after the first year, it depends. The narrow leaf milkweed, which do they have both kinds?
Yes.
Oh, just both kinds. Okay. The narrow leaf milkweeds like more water. They like to be near a slough or where there's, not too far from a river. So Durham Ferry, I think you would have a lot of space that would be really appropriate. And I would plant out the plugs. And in our study, we looked at planting plugs at different times of year and also planting from seed. We planted the seed in the fall. They came out pretty well, but it was a lot of work to keep them weeded. Planting the plug plants in early fall is good. We watered them over the first year. The narrow leaf ones like to be like in a low area near a slough or something. They like water. The speciosa is once it's established, it is more of a drier land, upper, a drier area. They'll be able to tolerate that. You probably need to water them the first year or two, but after that, they'll be fine.
Excellent.
So good luck. That would be awesome.
Thank you so much.
Valerie, if I could get some background on you. We've got a little bit into your video, but I'm not sure if it was breaking out at the time or if it was playing. So just some of your background. How did you get into this? Why are you still doing this? Just, anything and everything.
Sure. So I grew up in the foothills up in the Sierra Nevada. So I really love being outside and out in nature and doing things outdoors. So when I was thinking of what I wanted to do, I knew I didn't want to. I knew that just sitting at a computer at a cubicle was not going to cut it for me. It'd make me crazy. So I actually, when I was looking at colleges, I decided to go into art studio, which sounded like a good idea at the time, but it's definitely a hard field to get a job in and make money. But I was able to tag along on some geology field trips, and I fell in love with geology, and I actually got a double major in geology, hiking around and looking at rocks. And I was like, oh my God, they pay people to do this? Go outside and hike around? Like, okay, sign me up. So while I was at school, I actually got a job in a soils lab, which is, it's kind of like really young geology. It's like quaternary geology. So that was my first job experience with soils, and I fell in love with soils. And I was able to go on some sampling trips to Hawaii and look at different soils along some of the big islands, Kohala Coast, and classify those and see the difference in precipitation and how that affects the soils, which is really cool. And I just fell in love with it at that point. And I actually, when I graduated, I got a job with NRCS in soil survey. So that can be a job. You can go out and hike and dig pits, and there's a number of places you can live, and it's pretty fun. But it is hard work if you don't, it's not for you if you don't want to get dirty. So I did that for several years. I actually got the opportunity to map Pinnacles National Monument. So I don't know if you have been there, but it is a really cool, it's actually a national park now. And it is an amazing park. It's actually part of it, I think, is in Monterey County.
Yes.
So So if you get an opportunity to check it out, that is a really cool place to visit. Lots of cool geology and soils and plants. When I finished that soil survey, they kind of move you around to different locations. And I decided I wanted to go back to school and get my master's and kind of get a little bit more deeper into it. And so I went to UC Davis and did that. And that was kind of combined my geology and soils, looking at naturally occurring asbestos in soils. They were having some issues in one of the BLM sites about some asbestos showing up in the soils when they're doing off-roading and ATV riding, and they wanted to see how much asbestos was actually kicked up and people were breathing in while riding around their dirt bikes and ATVs. So that was a really interesting project to see that. And after school, I had to get a job. So I actually got a job working as a viticulture research manager. So they hired me from my soils background experience and kind of plant landscape soils relationship experience. And then that's kind of was my intro to ag, working in vineyards. At that point, yeah, I fell in love with agriculture. And let's see, I guess it jumped around a little bit, but ultimately I wanted to do something that actually helped people instead of just help put money in someone's wallet. So I applied for a job with NRCS, and you've heard Margaret, and so we help growers implement some of these conservation practices. So, a lot of the programs help give them money to help put in these practices because they're expensive. And a lot of growers out there really want to do the right thing, but they just can't afford it. And they don't know what to do. So they need a little help. And so that's what we do, is we help them prolong the sustainability and viability of their farming operation, and really emphasize things like crop rotation and soil health and plants for good plants for beneficial insects, and also help with degraded rangelands as well. So there's a lot of cool things you can work in ag, and there's a lot of options, and it's pretty fun if you guys like to be outdoors, and there's a lot of opportunities. So that's how I ended up here.
Sort of fell in love with like this region, which I think is largely considered like a Mediterranean like sort of climate. Are there any climates or environments that you would like to like check out, like tropical rainforest, or much more high Sierra or tundra, or like Arctic, or like I don't know, or even the desert, or like where's like this like sort of like the one, or or do you think anything else that you are regions or environments that you are interested in?
For me, or are you asking everyone?
Yeah, you.
Well, I love the Sierra because that's where I live, so I get to play in it all the time. And I think California is pretty cool because we have a lot of those. Like we have, desert, we have high Sierra, we have, coast, we have the valley, and so. I mean, it would be fun to look at some other places, but my heart's here for sure.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's see. Any more questions? Anything to add, Letty or Irene? I mean, you're here. This is your first time. Any questions or something you want to add, or from students or teachers?
I just, I'm really interested because it's the first time I'm thinking about this moment that you're all in about selecting your field for a while. But I know when people are in high school, at least my experience was, they talk to us a lot about the what, what are you going to major in? Right. And it's important, right? Like you've got to know your personality. You've got to know what you like, what Margaret said, if you notice plants, you're already like ahead of 95% of people because they don't notice plants, right? Like noticing what you notice, but noticing what you notice, what you care about, right? Like the what is really important. But I don't think at high school, and tell me your experience today, but I didn't think anybody talked to me about where do you want to be? Do you like being indoors or outdoors? Who do you want to be working with? These other kinds of questions. And I'm just wondering in your own, like thinking about it, if you're thinking about those things too, or if you're, for good reason, just thinking about the what at this point.
Yeah, that was really important, and that's why I really liked, how Matt went into his personal story. Matthew Bronson was actually the former San Joaquin farms coordinator for the Center for Land-Based Learning, and you heard about how he went to college for one thing, went out and did that. He worked for a winery. He worked in finance, which is like such a turnaround from what he's doing now, which is, I don't know exactly what, but he's working for the NRCS, but he's spending time outdoors, and that's the lifestyle like that he's choosing to live. Like that's what he wants to pursue. That's what he wants his 9 to 5 to look like. So and especially with these days with technology, you don't have to necessarily be at a place to perform a job. You see Valerie, whom she's like, I have a job where I just go out on hikes and collect dirt and like plants and rocks and stuff. Like, how cool is that? And that's the question is, do you want to be doing something that's like more social, when you're interacting with multiple different types of people consistently, or do you want to be off alone, doing your own thing, like being a scientist, or some combination? That's what's really important, because this whole piece is this is just one facility, and I don't recall, Valerie or Margaret, how many facilities are there over the continental United States? There's like a lot, right? Like outside of just California.
Yes, I think it was 27 or something.
Yeah, I was going to say 26 or 27.
Yeah.
So basically, once you get in the door with the NRCS or the federal government, which is underneath the USDA, there's just so much room for growth and just like moving from one place to another. Like as there's 27, so you're currently had a virtual field day of just one of those 27. So there's so many other different environments that they do things like this at. Margaret, it looks like you wanted to say something. Jump in.
Oh yes. Actually, it's more than that, because NRCS, and those of you who are on the coast will have met people who work for NRCS. We have field offices or service centers in almost every county, and I think in California there's about 350 employees total. So it's a lot, and people transfer from one state to another, and it's a very good job opportunity. I have to say the people in our field offices are a little jealous of us at the PMC, because we can work outside all the time and they spend a lot of time looking at their computers, but they do go out and meet with growers and work with conservation practices and give them plans and so on. So, and you feel good because you feel like you're really helping the producers and you're helping the environment too.
Yeah, that's really so important. Yeah, just just that diversity in environment that you can work in and work at is just the biggest piece of this.
Can I say one more point to that?
Please.
Sorry, I just want to underscore what the farm manager said in the video about internships, that like if you think you'd be interested in a work setting, try it out for a semester or something, because that's not a big part of your life. It's maybe 4 months, instead of entering a field and then working in it and being like, man, I have a degree in this, and now I realize I don't like coming here and working in it. And I say that because I entered the medical profession in my 20s, and I found out I didn't like working in hospitals. You know, like, so anyway, just to say, when you're thinking about a place, be in it for a bit and feel it out, and you'll know if you like being there as well as doing the work.
Yes. And NRCS does actually have a pathways program when people are in college. I think it's juniors and seniors. You can work with them for a summer. Unfortunately, they don't come and work with us at the PMC so far, but it's a great program. And if you do well, then you're hired into NRCS afterwards. So it's really amazing, actually, great opportunity.
So there's a few resources in all of your kits that have links to these. This one is pretty cool because it has a big, you know, just a little bit of the spectrum of what they have to offer. And then, so I can't remember, some of you have different things, but yeah, generally speaking, just Margaret, if they wanted to, you know, have a better view, you know, perspective on what the spectrum of careers and jobs, and you know what those look like, what website do they go to? How do we check out?
It would be they change. You would just Google it. You Google USDA.gov and the Natural Resources Conservation Service. They would have job opportunities for interns there. And I mean, USDA itself is a huge agency. You know, there are people who inspect animals. There are people who are out on the range. The Forest Service is part of the USDA. You know, it's just actually vast. I met somebody last year who was a lawyer, and we have a sort of a whole legal branch. Who knew? I never even knew. He was talking about stopping dogfighting down, you know, illegal dogfights or something. And I was like, really? This is amazing. I had no clue. So there's just huge numbers of opportunities there.
Yeah, a lot going on. So yeah, that's it. That's you know, like I'd say the gist of the Plant Material Center, and just one small piece of the you know, the USDA, but like, you know, but a huge, like, you guys do so much. And I just want to you know, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, Margaret. Thank you for your time, Valerie. Any more questions from anyone? And thank you, students. You know, this is why we do it. And, you know, just to show you everything that's out there, just locally, but then, you know, to show you that, you know, even if you jump in, you don't necessarily have to work at this Plant Material Center. There's so many others that you can work for. And, you know, there's just so much to offer. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. And unless anyone else has closing remarks, I'll go ahead and end this session. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in February the 12th for our virtual field day with UC Davis. Guys.
Thank you.
Bye.